Hello and welcome to Pals Pulls. It is Wednesday night. You know what that means. I am Sean, and I am joined by Tyler. Just Tyler this
What?
week. Yeah.
Where's everyone?
Are we the new dynamic duo?
Only if I get to wear those nice Robin underoos.
I like how you just automatically assumed you were Rob.
Wouldn't I be?
I mean, yeah, but
I got
you
big
just
dick
assumed.
energy. Huh?
I love it. We're going to be talking about four of the biggest releases this week. One of them is called Supermassive, in fact. So we're going to talk about that. We've got Ghost Rider #1. Very, very excited to talk about this.
Me
X
too, actually.
Deaths of Wolverine #3.
Wait, let me see the variant you picked.
Oh, for X Deaths?
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I saw that one. Oh, that was okay. When I was looking at like the solicits or whatever, I think that was the one that was labeled spoiler, and I couldn't actually see it.
Right.
So
Yeah, yeah. I actually had no clue this cover existed. When I got to the store and saw it, I was like, yeah, that's mine. And then Human Target #5. So we've got some pretty fire books to talk about today. If you are watching us live on Twitch, hello and thank you. Make sure that you say hello to us in the chat. Let us know you're there and share your pulls from the week with us. A great place for you to share your pulls with us every single week is our Discord server, where you can go to the Pals Pulls section and post a picture of your pulls every single week. Always love when people do that. Remember that we don't just go live on Wednesdays. We also go live Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern for the main show. If you want to hang out with us over there, just head on over to twitch.tv/comicspals. If you follow us, you will be reminded of when we go live, so you won't miss out. As far as book clubs go, we just put out Doom Patrol this past Tuesday. Run those numbers up. We want to see that book club do well. We really love that book, and it's the Grant Morrison run, so you know it's hot, and it's just the first volume, so you can easily pick that up if you want to read along with us. But
I'm
our
not easy
next,
on
yeah,
comicsology.
well,
Oh.
listen, that's a subject for last week's show. Announcement though, our next book club is actually dropping next Tuesday. We wanted to get this one out ahead of the Batman. We did Batman Year One, an amazing book. We had a really great conversation about it. So, check that out when it drops on the first Tuesday of March, which happens to be March 1st. Let's get into it. Let's get right into it. We're gonna be starting with Supermassive. Now, this is a crossover between a few of the Radiant characters, the characters that are empowered by the Radiant. And we've got quite a bit of writers on this creative team here.
Oh, really?
Kyle Higgins was joined by Ryan Parrott. They both wrote it alongside Matt Groom, whose name I haven't seen before, with art by Francesco Manna, with assistance from Melania Palladino. Also, Simone Ragazzoni and Marcelo Costa and whoever Abel is, and Erica DeRusso. Colored by Igor Monti, lettered by Becca Carey. So many people
You done?
worked on this book. Yes. Yes. Not as long as the Marvel Voices Legacy creative team listing, but quite long. Some might say massive. Tyler.
You stole my bit. That was gonna be my whole bit. I'm like, I wish this was like a super oversized issue, a massive issue. You're to Sam Taps in the chat too.
Hey, what's up, Sam? Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. So right out of the gate, I have been reading Radiant Black.
Okay,
I haven't loved it. Sorry?
I have questions. So
yeah. Okay, yeah. I haven't loved it, but I have liked it, and I think it's gotten a lot better. That being said, based on where Radiant Black is at, it feels way too early for this. Like, I've been wanting more superheroics stuff and team up stuff, but this just felt like it kind of like happened. And it didn't feel like it had real stakes. It was just kind of like a one and done story, which is fine. There's space for that. But I wish that it had been about a little more than what it was.
So my background on Radiant Black is I read the first 3 issues. Um, and then I forgot when issue 4 came out, and then it just dominoed from there. I didn't mean to drop it. It wasn't an intentional thing. I think I was enjoying it. Um, but I guess I dropped it at the issue where the character under the suit changes.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, by the
I was.
way, we're full
Oh
spoilers.
yeah, I guess
Anything we're
that's a
talking
spoiler
about is
for
just
for.
yeah,
There we go.
yeah,
There's a big old spoiler alert. Yeah, it's a spoiler for what, a 6-month-old issue. Um, but I guess, yeah, I mean, so that kind of threw me off, and I guess Radiant Black doesn't have a fan wiki yet, so I was like quickly going on Wikipedia. I'm like, it's not even on Wikipedia yet that I could find,
right.
at least the plot. So I was a little confused there. I figured it out. It's his dick friend that's now Radiant
Yeah,
Black, right? Okay.
yeah,
Which, honestly, my first complaint about Radiant Black was like, oh, this main character is just a writer. He's not really compelling. Um, he's a little too internal for a superhero character. So I
yeah,
kind of like that this likable douchebag is the main character of Radiant Black. But I'm kind of with you in the fact that this kind of felt a little weird. I will preface this with I enjoyed this issue. I had fun with it.
Mhm.
I thought it was dumb superhero fun. But it is kind of a inverse of how we normally get giant crossover events. Whereas normally we would get multiple ongoings that have been going on for a while, having their own stories, and then converging to this point. This is the opposite. It's essentially the only one that's been doing that is Radiant Black, and even then, it's been doing it for what, only 12 issues, so not too much.
Yeah,
But now, this supermassive event happens, an event issue, and then that explodes into 2 other series, or one graphic novel, a mini series, an ongoing.
yeah,
It's really exploding the whole Radiant universe, which I don't. It's a little tricky to follow, but I appreciate it. Does that make sense?
yeah. The ambition.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's something I don't think I've seen an image maybe since like what was the Invincible team up book? Something of the Earth world something.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, there was a big
Yeah,
team up book, and yeah, I think that's probably the most recent one I can think of where a mini universe in and of itself kind of existed, and even the solicits I think for May or June or whatever. Some of Kyle Higgins's characters from his Cal series, which was an Image comic series he did probably 5 years ago, are showing up in Radiant Black. So like,
what?
yeah, which I actually appreciated too. It's like, all right, let's see what happens there. Yeah, I enjoy this. I kind of wish Kale was here for this one because there's a bit of a Power Rangers feel to
Yeah,
this.
yeah. There's a
Um,
big like kaiju fight and
yeah,
lots of Power Rangers. Ryan Parrott writes, or he was writing
yeah,
some Power Ranger stuff over at Boom, and you can definitely feel. I mean, Kyle Higgins and Ryan Parrott are the two most, I guess, like influential Power Rangers writers in terms of the comics so far. And
yep.
so for them to now be joined up to do Radiant together, I think is really smart. It makes a lot of sense that Image would have approached them to do this. Um, One of my problems with Radiant as a concept so far is that it feels like trying to do an Image book with a superhero with Power Rangers and keep that Image feel while also trying to be really bombastic. And it doesn't always feel congruent. So, for example, the Radiant series proper, uh, up until really recently, to me was just boring. Like I didn't care about. I think the main character's Nathan, whatever.
It was
The
Nathan. Yeah,
original, the writer,
yeah.
he was uninteresting, and then so I just spent 5 issues reading about this dude I don't care about. Now he's dead, or dead. Um,
He's in
and
this though,
now
right? Isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I'm dead at the time. Um,
What happened though? Like, did he come back and he just doesn't
so
have the suit, or
he
I
was
don't
in
know
a
if you can fill out
coma.
links in.
He was in a
Oh,
coma, and then his
classic.
friend was able to like go into like space time or whatever and bring him back. It's all crazy. Those issues were really cool. That was awesome. That was a visual treat. And unlike anything I've ever seen in comics before, I recommend it. But when you have that kind of thing going on, and then over here, it's just, oh yeah, here's a random team up with characters you may or may not have ever seen before, fighting against something you have no clue about, and it's all established and ended in one issue. It's a lot. It felt like a lot. I liked it for the most part, but it felt like a lot.
The one thing that kind of threw me off was the maybe 4 or so pages where it's just them on a road trip.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the issue I had with Radiant Black when I was reading it. Is that I'm expecting this big, bombastic Power Rangers kaiju battling esque kind of series, and they slow it down unexpectedly. Like, yes, I understand the point of it is for character development and to kind of make them human, but there are ways to do that where it doesn't sacrifice the plot and what's going on in the story. Like at one point they're like, "Oh, the monster is 400 miles away. We better get a rental car." I'm like, "You're not catching up to that. That thing is, it's already 400 miles away. That ain't working."
Yeah, that was really ridiculous. And that car ride I know was, like you said, meant to do character development, but when everything around them is crazy, I'd rather you do the character development within the crazy.
Agreed.
Show
Yeah.
me their heroics, show me their fears, show me their strengths and weaknesses while they're fighting. Um, the scene where they have to stand up to this massive creature without their powers was kind of cool in the sense that they still had the will to do that, but it just didn't make any sense. Like they'd be dead, right?
I mean, maybe the guy who's just been Radiant Black for what, a month or two, maybe. I can maybe justify the other two, Red
Yeah.
Infernal Girl and Rogue Sun, which awesome superhero names across the board. I really like these
Yes.
character names, and the designs are fantastic.
Yeah.
They're modern without being New 52 Flash, way too over the top detailed with all the like they're modern without looking realistic, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
agree. A lot of cool stuff that happens within these books. All the costumes are cool. The names are cool, like you said. I don't feel like what happens in them is living up to everything that's being built around them, if that makes sense. But there is one moment in this book that is so cool, out of this world cool. I mean, you can't see it in a digital version, so you might not even know that this happens, Tyler. At least not the way that I'm seeing it. But like, so there's a part where they all get their powers back because they get depowered by the massive creature, but they get their
oh,
powers
is it
back,
a
and it
fold
folds
out?
out. It folds out. I'm holding it up for you guys on Twitch and YouTube. It folds out, and you can see each of them like kind of like posing or whatever. It's really cool. It's too big
That makes
for
sense.
yeah,
I
for the
was like,
screen
wow,
here,
this is
but
a extra large. This is a larger than double page spread on my iPad. It's
yeah,
scrolling a little more than normal. Okay.
yeah. And
Yeah. Hyper Viper saying that physical humble brag.
oh yeah, of course, you already know. Welcome, Hyper Viper. Thank you for joining us. I think that's Justin on the Discord. I think.
Yeah.
In which case, appreciate you coming on board for one of these live streams. But the art has always been the best part of all the Radiant
Oh, it's
books.
great.
Yeah, yeah.
And
This is no exception.
and honestly, I skipped past the credits thing because once the book ended, I went to the next one because I was in time crunch. But I didn't realize there. But I guess maybe that's a good thing because I didn't realize there were 3 artists on this. They kind of gelled.
Four,
They
3 or
definitely
4.
gelled very well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I'm curious where I mean, they have the delineation there of duties. Okay, it looks like the main story was Francesco Mana. The slow down stuff might have been Simone Ragazzoni, and then the final battle might have been Marcelo Costa. I don't know, but it's good. It's really good. It's It's fun. It's kinetic, but I think the fact that they have the one colorist Igor Monti on it really helps because this is a
Yeah.
friggin' colorful ass book. Like
Yeah.
that cover doesn't even do it justice for how colorful this book is.
No, and it's a sick cover, but when
Yeah,
you open it up, it's just like wow. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? No, this is phenomenal work. I just okay, let me turn the question on to you.
Okay.
What does the Radiant universe as it's been built so far have to do to really sell you and make you an active reader of all of this?
Not much, honestly. I think I'm kind of taking the bait.
Mm,
Um, I will say it is doing a good job with marketing, which I don't see at Image. I feel like this is getting
yeah,
a push that I
yeah.
don't see often outside of Saga. On like it's Saga, Spawn. Like I feel like those are the only two things I ever really see pushed. I think Step by Bloody Step is also getting a decent push that also came out today.
I picked that up too. Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm definitely picking that physically tomorrow. Um,
Oh, whoa. So you're gonna pick up Saga, right?
yeah, yeah. Saga,
Step by Bloody Step. What else?
the Howard the Duck hardcover collection. You
Wow.
asked. You asked. That's what I'm picking up. The Quinoa stuff finally coming out in one collection.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And then Crowded. I
Hey,
plan on picking up Crowded. I didn't get to that.
I was just gonna ask you about
Yeah.
Crowded. I got the last copy
I
at
hope there's still
Midtown.
copies there.
Dude, I asked last week. It was sold out. Today I looked there's a section where they have like the books that they're really trying to pump.
Which Midtown
And
do you go to? Not to dox you or tell people
for
where you are on Wednesdays, but
please. The one on 40th or whatever.
oh, the one near 40 Ducey Street,
Yeah. Yeah.
Times Square one. Okay.
And they had literally one copy. I grabbed that shit and got right in line. Was
I
so
picture
happy.
like a Jingle All the Way, Arnold Schwarzenegger versus
Arnold Schwarzenegger versus kids in
yeah.
a mall. I'd say pull this if you're into Power Rangers, Radiant Black so far. If you're into it, just pull it. Yeah.
And it's like it's not dreary. Like even Rogue Sun, who is kind of I guess the more broody of the characters. Like even him, he kind of just cracks jokes in there, but it's also not super jokey. It's like this good line that it's kind of walking that I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying.
I just need to see its heart. That's what it is for me. And maybe this is because of how much I know about how this all is coming together, because of what we do. But it feels so manufactured to me. It feels like, hey, Power Rangers is back in the spotlight right now. We need a Invincible ended a few years ago. We need something that's going to combine those two things, and we're going to go get the writers to do that. That's what it feels like, and I know that that's literally true, and it's making it hard for me to invest right now.
But from what I understand, like that's yes, that's true, but it just also happens to be that Higgins is super invested in this. Because I
Yeah. Oh
think this
yeah.
is
Of
something he's been
course.
like it's like a pet project that he's been wanting to do forever, and it just so happened to align with something that Image wanted. And that's the feeling I get from it. I don't know if that's true, but
My understanding is that he was, and again, this could be wrong, but I spoke to him personally. I believe this is what he said. He was asked to do
okay,
this, and this is what he came up with.
okay,
Um, it's hard for me to accept that, but that's not to say that I don't like it. That's not to say that there's not quality here. I think if you are curious about it, just buy it, pull it, no
yeah,
doubt.
yeah. How
Um,
long do you give it till there's some kind of Invincible crossover?
I don't think that will ever happen.
I don't think it'll be Invincible, but I can see maybe somebody else from that universe popping up in here.
You think Kirkman would sign off on that?
Mr. Moneybags, Robert Kirkman?
Hey, no, no, no. If he was Mr. Moneybags Robert Kirkman, Invincible would have continued under somebody else because that was the original mission
If he
statement.
wasn't, he'd give his original artist some more money from that TV show. But
Oh, well, I mean, listen, maybe he's greedy in that sense, but you know, either way, not to crap on Kirkman.
oh,
Um,
Savage Dragon crossover. Okay, I think it's a little more G rated or PG rated compared to Savage Dragon, Matt. So, but I can see that happening too. Maybe a
is
Spawn crossover. Spawn crosses over with everyone.
Is
Except
Savage
good
Dragon a
writing.
serious comic book or no?
I would love to do. I bet you I can drag Matt out of podcasting retirement if
Tired.
we did a Savage Dragon book club. Because
But is it?
I've been getting more and more curious about it. I don't know why.
You've done enough of these with me to know sort of probably what I will like and what I won't. And Matt, knows me as well. Is Savage Dragon something that I would enjoy? That's my question.
I think you would enjoy the art. From what I understand, it is so varying in what it actually is, in terms of what actually happens in the book. There might be something in there for you. I think the way I see it is that there's something in there for everyone. It gets real political, recently. They had a whole issue about COVID, apparently,
What?
where one of the main
He got sick.
superheroes gets sick from COVID because they're an anti-vaxxer. Like, and it travels in real time too. So like this shit is happening concurrently with stuff, but also like there's some like weird fetishy shit in it that like kind of turned me off, which
Oh.
might be down your alley. I don't know. Matt says it's basically a superhero story told in the original ASM real-time continuity.
Interesting.
That's fair.
All right. Maybe I'll give it a try. Maybe. So yeah, Supermassive was cool. Hot book. Let's heat things up a little more. Let's talk about Ghost
There we
Rider.
go. That's a guy who's been podcasting for a while. All right.
Yeah, come on. So Benjamin Percy has really had the hot hand as of late. We're reading
Keep going.
two.
Keep going.
I love this shit. We're reading two Benjamin Percy books today. And so Ghost Rider is by Percy, with art by Corey Smith, colors by Brian Valenza and Travis Lanham on letters. So Percy really has like a thing for, characters who are in situations that aren't exactly what they seem and could be just happening in their mind. Like this is very, very similar to what's happening in X Lives, like in
Yeah.
some way.
I mean,
Loosely.
what's happening here is kind of a trope. It's like WandaVision, same kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
But I will say I still fucking enjoyed this issue a lot.
Oh, this was hot. This was so good. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say like this is what a Spawn comic should be. Like this
Yeah,
comic did
ooh.
Spawn better than Spawn has done Spawn in years.
That's why we need a great writer like Percy on Spawn.
Just put
Imagine
a
what he could
fucking
do.
new creative team on Spawn. Like this Ghost Rider. It's Johnny Blaze. We'll say that off the bat. It's literally just Johnny Blaze. Fuck, Danny Ketch, Robbie Reyes. Like they're great. I like them.
They're fine.
But
I
it's
don't know if
been
they're
a
great.
while since we've had just a strictly Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider comic.
Yep.
And it is a horror book through and through, which surprised me. It gets pretty graphic for like a mainstream Marvel #1 book.
Yeah, especially as things kind of devolve and you realize what's going on, and the therapist is like, "Oh, what positions do you like?" and like all these like crazy things. I was like,
It's a Marvel
"Whoa."
book talking about doggy style, man. And they heard my criticisms.
They stuck a dog in a mailbox in a Marvel comic book.
What else? There was like really gross body horror in it with Johnny Cage had
Johnny Cage, huh?
Oh, is that's Mortal Kombat? Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, he has this giant head scar, and then like an eyeball pops out of it.
Oh my god,
it's gross. It's disgusting, and it's good.
Let me see if I can pull one of those up, because it really is just nasty. Like there's so much. Perfect. Here it is. I'm holding it up for YouTube and Twitch. That is really gnarly.
Guy's whispering eye over there. Gross.
So how long did it take for you to figure out that
I knew
something was wrong?
Bad. It's a Ghost Rider book. Nothing happy ever happens. And also, I've read pretty much every Ghost Rider book that he's been in for the past decade, it's not a lot. I'm not bragging. It's really not that much.
Right.
So I'm at least aware. I'm like, he doesn't have a wife and kids. Like, I don't think they're gonna spring that on me right away. Something smells funny here. I thought it would be like a Blackheart reveal or something. Like that's
Oh
where I was seeing it.
God, yeah.
Underrated Marvel villain.
I love Blackheart. Ever since I first saw that character in the Marvel Superheroes game,
Yep.
I was
Yep.
like, yeah, this
That's
is
who I
the
played
man.
as on PlayStation 1. That's why I played as Blackheart.
And what a travesty that the Ghost Rider movie with Nick Cage used Blackheart in literally the worst way possible.
And yeah, no, he's just a scene chewing, mustache twirling villain at that point.
I went to see that movie for Blackheart. I don't give a damn. I never cared about Ghost Rider. Cool concept, costume and concept, but I just never cared about it. This is the first Ghost Rider comic book that I'm reading, actually.
Really?
Literally.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't realize what was going on until they said it, like until it was, made apparent within the story.
Sure.
I thought, okay, yeah, he has a wife and kids. I haven't seen him in a comic in forever, Johnny Blaze. So I figured he just moved on with his life. He had a bad accident, whatever.
No, he was king of hell for a while.
I just haven't seen him. I didn't know.
But
So
also,
I bought it hook, line, and sinker.
good. Okay, cool. I'm glad that happened. I mean, it is the kind of the cliche, like, oh, there's this classic American town where nothing ever goes wrong, and our protagonist is living the perfect American life. But then
Right.
there's little seeds here, like, oh, his dog's dead, and it really. I'm glad they didn't wait till an issue 2 to reveal that.
Yeah,
Like, I think it's
agreed.
a very well paced first issue.
Well, they even swerved me because everything you just said is right. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a little weird. But then when Zeb, the character Zeb, appears and he starts to make bad things happen, I was like, okay, that's how they're going to go from Pleasantville to Horrorville. Cool. And that will force out Ghost Rider. But then it swerved me. And it's like, no, none of this is even really happening at all. And I started to get a little frustrated, actually, because it was like, okay, what wife is going to tolerate the fact that her husband is this crazy? Like they would have serious problems in their marriage.
You'd be surprised.
And she's still hitting on him. She still wants to have sex. Like, nah, no, this ain't happening. And so then when it was revealed that this is all BS, I was like, okay, cool, this makes sense. Like, look at this. He's getting hit on by his therapist, and then she turns.
His therapist is like, "Yo, you like doggy style?" I was like, "Yo, I know I always tell people to go to therapy, but like, not for this. This is the therapy Matt should go to."
I don't know. I don't know if that would go well from that. I could see Matt going to therapy and that just becoming like a whole adventure that would just be a story that he would tell.
But it's good because it's like it shocks you a bit in the issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I'm really liking Ben Percy lately, man.
Like I said, he really does have the hot hand when it comes to horror, when it comes to just darker storytelling. He's got it.
And also, like, he writes a good drunk. Like, he writes a good person who abuses alcohol.
I was thinking while I was reading this, like, okay, Benjamin Percy clearly has had a problem with alcohol in his life because this is just too good. Like, this is too well written.
Don't give him an Iron Man book.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Demon in a Bottle Part 2.
Oh, boy.
Yep. So, yeah, like, I literally don't have any complaints. I think this was a fantastic issue. It's my book of the week. And that's, to me, saying a lot because I enjoyed the next 2 books a lot. But this was everything I wanted it to be.
I'm going to agree with you, honestly. Like, I'm going to gush about Human Target when we get to Human Target.
Yeah.
I loved it. But I think this kind of surprised me.
Right.
Where I think the surprise factor kind of makes me want to go, this might be my book of the week, too. So.
Yeah, because, like, how often do you read a number 1? Especially a Marvel or DC number 1 and go, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. Even though, I mean, you said you saw it coming, but
we read one last week that we didn't do that with Iron Fist.
Right. It was paint by numbers.
Yeah.
And this was like something completely different. Even if you knew, okay, it's going to have horror, it's going to have this, that, and the other thing, you couldn't have known the premise. And that's cool. So because of that, because of the great art and, Benjamin Percy, this is my book of the week. You have to pick this up. To me.
Yeah, we're in agreement there.
Yeah. And just to add a little bit more about the art, I personally think good horror is not easy to do in comics. And man, Corey nailed it.
It's
Absolutely nailed it.
when I say this art is really gross, I mean that in the best way possible. Like it's purposefully gross. And I think one thing that it's Corey Smith, right?
Yeah.
That he nails is showing how Johnny Blaze is still kind of gross and dirty, even when he's in this pristine town in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like he stands out. He's just not. There's something wrong. He's not really supposed to be there. And I like that as a kind of an indicator of what was coming.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I think if you like, how often does a number one or really any issue have reread value? Like, I feel like reading it again to catch all the things that I missed that were signs of what the turn would be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. He stood out in that way from everybody else. Like, I don't know. There's layers here. It's so cool. I really enjoyed this.
I wish I would have seen him like his kids turn into little demon babies.
Yeah.
And like I just want to see him like beating the shit out of these little demon babies. Like, they look like Pain and Panic from Hercules. I just want to see him like kick one of them.
You want to see? Okay, so you want child abuse in a Marvel comic?
They're demons. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Tyler,
it's fine.
Tyler Olsen,
pro
advocate.
Child demon abuse.
Wow. All right.
Hire me for Spawn, guys. I will gladly write Spawn. There we go. I can do it.
I can see that. When are you gonna flex your
my degree?
Yeah.
What are you, my wife? No. It's maybe one day. I have plenty of ideas written down, just no urge to do anything about it. But
you want to collab?
I can tell you my ideas. They're pretty. I'll email them to you. So they're time dated, but I can't. Yeah.
Oh, you won't say them here?
No, I'm not gonna say.
It's just us.
There's more people, and we're gonna post this on YouTube. I don't know if we'll ever actually gain energy to do stuff later. Probably not, but
we should do the Comic Spouse Presents, and it'll be you, me, and Kale, and Marco, I guess. And we'll just
he's written stuff before.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of Benjamin Percy, let's talk about X Deaths of Wolverine, number 3. I am on record as preferring X Deaths to X Lives, and I know that not everybody agrees with that, but that's fine. This issue I thought was again excellent, might be the best one yet. So Ben Percy, Federico Vincenti on art, Dijo Lima on colors, letter and design by Corey Pettit, and Tom Muller did the designs. So before I gush, Tyler, how'd you feel about this one?
I am warming up to it more than last week because we got a lot of answers in this one.
Yeah,
I mean, I was right this whole time, but I can see what's going on here. This is future Wolverine come to the past to kill Moira because of what she makes the future become.
Right.
I enjoyed it. And here's the thing. You bring, Laura and Gabby and Dakin into a book, I'm going to warm up to it. I like those guys. They're especially Dakin now. He's kind of grown into like an actual likable person, where he can be likable with Laura and Gabby now.
Yeah.
I like them bringing in the whole Wolverine family to kind of confront this together. This is like the Wolverine team book that we've never really got. My only issue is the fact that I feel like this Moira turn is becoming a bit abrupt.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, she was the savior of mutantdom a month ago, and now she's the destroyer of mutantdom.
See, and this, exactly what you just said, is why Hickman's time ending the way it did is so bad. Because I don't think it's a turn. I said, even before the Inferno reviews, but definitely during them, that I think she was always bad. Not bad.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. But because of the way that things went down, and we never got that Moira book that Hickman talked about, the progression of her character never happens. So if you just read them and you don't think what we thought about it, it does feel like, oh, so she's just bad now. What the hell? What is this, WWE Raw? Like, she turns more than the Big Show. You know,
Well,
I do think that the way that she's talking makes it feel abrupt because we never got that.
That's
This
my
is the
issue.
first time
Yep.
we're in Moira's mind and thoughts since House and Powers.
Yeah. But my issue is that Moira has been singular minded from her inception before Hickman. This is decades ago at this point to cure mutants. It's always been her thing. We learned she was a mutant, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
But of course, her goal isn't going to change. But she becomes, and this is the second time I'm saying this whole episode, she becomes mustache twirly a bit in this, where it's almost a little cheesy, I feel. Does her trajectory match that? Yes. Especially now that things are escalating and she's being hunted by future Wolverine. Yeah, that would scare the shit out of me too, and I'd probably want to do something about it. But I just feel like in terms of the way she's talking, and when she meets not Steve Jobs, whatever this guy's name is,
Yeah.
it becomes a little too scene chewy villain for me.
I will say, I think Percy could have done there's some different choices that could have been made with her dialogue to keep her humanized to some degree. Because what she's chasing, like, let's just talk about what she's been through, right? So for 10 lives straight, she's been killed for being a mutant. She's been killed for trying to help mutants. She's been killed for not trying to help mutants. She's been killed for like everything she's tried to do. And in this life, where she's been the most successful, she survived for 50 something years in this particular life, and Krakoa exists and mutants are thriving for the simple fact that they learned who she is and that what she's doing. Now the same people who she saved are trying to kill her, and not only the ones that are from now, but the ones from the future too. That's gotta suck for her. Really
damned
bad.
if you do, damned if you don't, sort of thing.
Her brain is broken. Yeah, it's not just that she's lived for however long she's been alive all these years. She's been through hell all of those years. They need to lean into her mental instability if that's what we're seeing. It can't just be she's bad for reasons. That's not enough.
I'm also curious to see where this starts lining up with Orcus too, because we're getting into a lot of Moira forming cyborgs and this mixture of humanity and tech that Orcus is very about. That's what Nimrod is. That's what the Omega Sentinels are. So to see where that's going to line up, I'm kind of curious as well.
Yeah, I'm not. That's another thing too. I'm not sure Orcus is about that. I think that Orcus is about being very specifically anti-mutant, and that what we saw in Inferno was Omega Sentinel and Nimrod saying, mutants suck, but so do humans. The future is in the fusion.
Fair, yeah.
And
they murk all the Orcus agents there, yeah.
Right. And so in a weird way, she's actually more aligned with Nimrod and Omega Sentinel. And we might see a triumvirate there. They might connect, which could be cool.
That ain't good.
No, it's not good.
And then you start mixing in the phalanx too with that. That ain't good.
Right.
Oh, are we gonna have another phalanx war?
I'm into it.
Revive that IP. Put those reprints out. There we go.
Why not? I really loved seeing Laura here. I laughed out loud a couple of times, actually. Her and Scout, the first couple of pages, seeing Scout in her little Wolverine cosplay was really cute and funny. I love those characters. Tom Taylor's run was amazing.
Oh, okay, just about to ask you that. Yeah, I love that run. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
The best Wolverine book in years.
Agreed. I don't know, man. Like, despite what we said about the Moira of it, I had a lot of fun with this. I thought this was really good. And I can't wait to see where things go. The end of it, though, left me confused because we jump into the future, we jump into year 1000. Um, and we see that Wolverine is the last mutant, and Moira kills him, presumably.
And she's like full Omega Sentinel too.
Yeah, she has fully fused with Sentinel technology, it appears. But she kills him, but somehow he ends up in the past. Phalanxed out.
I read it as she killed him and the Phalanx healed him to finish his mission. It's not stated. That is conjecture on my end, but that's how I was reading it.
It might just be a wait and see thing too. We'll probably I still contend
both of these books have been that.
Yeah. But there's so much more clarity to this one, and that's why I enjoy it so much.
You know what I would like to see? I want to see a hardcover of both these together. But depending on which side you hold it, it's like you have to like flip it upside down, like they mirror each other on both sides and they meet.
That's
in the middle.
cool.
That's what I want to see. Tom Mueller, get on that shit. Figure out something for that.
Yeah. He's trust me, he's all over it. You should see what that guy posts on Twitter. I don't know if you follow him.
Oh, he posts some stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still on board with this. I think you pull it. If you've been pulling it, if you haven't, it's easy enough to catch up. You literally don't even need to read X Lives if you don't want to. You could follow just this one. So far.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Human Target. Book 5 of the Human Target. So this has been really good for the last 4 issues. This one somehow manages to get better.
Yeah. And this was a great kind of I guess what's the word I'm looking for? It takes what Tom King does and it dilutes it into this one issue. If you read his previous work, where he's not a very linear storyteller, sometimes you kind of have to, especially Strange Adventures, like that was not like you didn't learn what was going on until like issue 6 or something like that, and even then you didn't know everything.
Yeah.
This issue does not hold your hand. Like I don't think you really kind of get an idea of what's going on until like 6 pages in, you start maybe getting an inkling of what's going on.
I was confused for longer than that. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I might have been too. I'm just going on. I'm just throwing a random number out there. You don't know what's going on until way well into the book.
Yeah.
But once you realize what he's doing, it's like, shit, dude. You kind of got me. I mean, can we say what? Yeah, we said.
Oh spoilers, yeah. Let's do it.
So this whole issue is about the mind battle between Christopher Chance, is that his name? And Martian Manhunter. And it's told in this weird kind of way where like their thoughts and their minds are kind of merging into each other, and that's what kind of leads you to kind of get lost in it. But also it shows that Christopher Chance had psych training before and how he knows how to combat somebody coming into his mind. And like I read this twice because I was like, oh, I want to see what the breadcrumbs were originally that I wasn't getting. It's really good and it's gorgeous, and it does things where it moves the plot forward, but because this is just a traditional whodunit, not a traditional whodunit, but it's a whodunit, you don't really need to move it forward that much. You just need to know who the next suspect is. Yeah. So it allows the issue to really focus on the storytelling of the moment, but also it gives a lot of backstory into Christopher Chance. And a little bit of Martian Manhunter too, which I enjoyed. I like this a lot. It's really good.
I think it was good to get some backstory on Christopher because we don't really know too much about him other than what they've, other than what's happening like right now in his life. We don't know much. And so seeing that he's got this kind of like screwed up backstory and his dad was a drunk and stuff, alcoholism strikes again in comics. But
read that Frank Miller book.
But I think that was all really important, and Tom picked the perfect spot to tell that story. Earlier in the series, I don't think there was space for that. But this issue presented rather an opportunity to do that, juxtaposing it with Martian Manhunter and the fact that he had an affair with fire. Um, I thought that was pretty cool, especially because Martian Manhunter is a character that I think of as flawless.
Yeah.
I think of him as a perfect being. So to see that he has this in his history and that Christopher Chance was able to see that by like going into his mind or whatever, that was
Yeah.
nuts.
Or just by letting him take over his own
Right.
mind.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he found like he slipped in an opening there. And that idea of
Right.
like this non-existent thing in the real life that is psych battles, that is such a common thing in comic books.
Mhm.
But making it seem realistic and like this is like the kung fu of the mind. This is the taekwondo of the mind. It was really interesting. And also there's a page with Martian Manhunter post coitus crying. Like it's that alone.
Let me get that up there because
That alone should make you want to read this book. There you go. My man's
uh,
had some performance anxiety there.
listen, bro. Listen, John, we've all been there. All right. We support you. It happens. We've all had a little
Blue
cry
Chew.
after.
Our ad for this episode.
Get you some Blue Chew, get you some Cialis, you'll be all right. These things happen.
But like the thing with the JLA is that Martian Manhunter is like the most famous in terms of mainstream appeal. I think with the Justice League Unlimited cartoons, like people know who Martian Manhunter is more than they know who Ice is, more than they know who Guy Gardner is, and there is very little Martian Manhunter in this, which I thought was commendable. It's like you can write your Martian Manhunter story, but this just uses him in a very strategic way, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the Black Label element allows you to do things with characters like they would never let you do this with Martian Manhunter.
Nah, dude's just gonna be eating Oreos the whole time. He's not gonna be crying in bed.
No, he's not going to be in bed. He's not.
First of all, he's fucking the one thing he's afraid of. Like, fire. Her name is Fire.
Yes. Yes.
What were you thinking, John Johns?
That's such a good point.
He gets the horny bonk for that one. Wasn't thinking straight. He was thinking with his Martian dick on that one.
Mm-hmm. That dude definitely gets the horny bonk. That's a good point. Yeah. So this issue though also gives us the biggest clue that we're aware of so far as to what really happened. Because now we understand that Martian Manhunter is actually directly involved in everything that's going on. So I was pretty pleased with that. It wasn't just a good issue in and of itself. It's a good issue within the context of the story that's being told.
My one gripe with this whole issue is the origin story for the Human Target, where he kind of has a Batman Year One. We just talked. I mean, we recorded the show yesterday. Just inside baseball there. But he kind of has a moment where he's like, "I will become the Human Target." Like, I will be the target for anyone. And I was
I shall be the target.
Yeah, I think those are his words verbatim. Where I was like, come on. But I was because the rest of the issue was just so good, I was able to look past that.
So we should talk about the art because obviously Greg Smallwood is the man. And, as great as the story is, every time that we do these reviews, Smallwood's art just really stands out as being fantastic. I don't have as many like deep divey thoughts about what he did here, like no color theory or anything like that, which I've done before, but it's just good stuff. Like even this, which is so simple, right? Like this panel here of Ice and wait, that's
it's Ice, it's Christopher, but it's also Martian Manhunter. It's all of the different disparate in bed scenes that we have in one.
Yeah, which is absolutely crazy that they did that. And I love the green. There's like there's like a hint of green there to bolster what you just said, which is pretty cool. And just like the reds every time we're seeing the past assault sequence, which this entire issue is built around. It's just great.
I will say the scenes when they're in like this like almost Mexican restaurant / tiki bar or whatever, like I gotta say, those are the right colors. Because when I read comics, I put on some weird tiki themed lighting and I listen to tiki music.
You literally have the lighting going on. I was gonna ask you what the hell that was about.
Yeah, that's how I relax. I go in the chair behind me and I just sit in there and I read comics and listen to real cultural appropriation before we called it that tiki music from like the 1950s.
Dude,
It's my zen moment, you know.
one day I really want to just like do a deep dive with you and figure out who the hell you are.
Who I am?
Because
That's a good
yeah,
question.
that's just bugged out.
I
Like,
almost
I've
said
never heard that
24601 and got into a Les Mis thing. One thing about the art, and every issue has done this where they've done the credits page in the art itself. This one was the menu of a Mexican restaurant. I was like,
Love it.
because my fat ass initial thing was like, oh, what they got here? But I was
No,
like,
I
oh,
looked at it too.
they got Greg Smallwood. I never ate that. I've had, Huevos Rancheros, but like I haven't had Greg Smallwood before. Oh, this is the credits page. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't waste the
Tyler.
page too. You don't waste the page on credits.
Thank
Integrate
goodness. Respect my dollar, DC. Like, look at this. I'm paying $5 for this. There better not be a credits page.
And Smallwood draws those good tortilla chips, like those Mexican restaurant ones. You know what I mean? Like
This ain't
you
the
can
Foodie
tell they're
Pals,
good.
Tyler. This is not.
Look at that. Bring up the tortilla page. You can
I'll do
tell
it.
those
I'll
are
do
like the ones with like a little bit of oil on them still, and like they're super
What-
crunchy and it holds the salsa really well, like without making it soggy. It's not that like Tostitos scoops shit. Hint of lime. Fuck that. These are legitimate. It's like the first page.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah.
Look at those damn chips. Those are the good ones because they got the paper there to soak up the oil. He knows what he's doing. He made me hungry with this.
He's a foodie too. He's a connoisseur. He knows what he's doing. There should be some type of like collaboration now between DC and, well, you just shit on Tostitos, so I guess it can't be that.
Fuck Tostitos. Fuck Tostitos.
Damn, I like them.
They're different. They're not bad. It's just it scratches a different itch.
I've never had Mexican food. Yeah.
I'm gonna let the dead air go.
I'm
Is there a reason?
I mean, listen, first of all, I have a dairy allergy, so there's a
Sure,
lot of
yeah.
stuff I can't consume. But then also I'm very, very picky. So none of the food
Like a
appeals
chicken
to me.
fingers only kind of guy?
No.
You're not
My favorite, I like a good steak, that's my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna out you. How do you get your steak?
We're gonna do this live. We're gonna do this live right now.
You brought it up. You look
Well
like
done. What were you gonna
Don't-
say? I'm so curious.
I was gonna say well done. I was gonna say
Okay.
well done.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you put ketchup on it?
No, that's nasty. dude.
Okay, good. All right.
That's
So you're gonna be
that's-
Trump style. Like, not to get political, but Trump was known to get a well done steak and put ketchup on it. That is a red flag in and of itself. Whoever voted for that, fucking wrong.
Is it okay? So ketchup and Trump aside, is it a red flag for someone to get a well done steak? Because I feel like that's a legitimate choice.
Coming from me, yes. And it's not a red flag as in like, oh, this is a bad person. This is like,
Yeah.
It's a red flag as like, just try it. You will see why it's better.
Okay, so what
But
is
but
the
don't go to like Outback Steakhouse. Like go to like an actual restaurant. If you're gonna go to like a chain, maybe like a Peter Luger if you're in Manhattan. That's fine.
fine? First of all, how bougie and elitist of you to say that Peter Luger's is fine? Okay, I eat at Ruth's Chris. Don't tell me that's
That's a
fine
decent one, too.
because
That's a
that
pretty good
check
one, too,
ain't
yeah.
fine.
No,
Check
that one
is not.
hurts. That check hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do get a well done steak from there. I do.
You don't like a little pink?
I like the crust, man. I like it.
What podcast are we doing right now?
I don't know. Anyway, pull human target, and according to Tyler, eat Mexican.
Oh, dude, Mexican food is the and like good traditional Mexican. Not much dairy in it. It's not like Taco Bell where it's just half cheese. Like, come on.
This was fantastic. But
Great,
you're
great
sticking
book.
with Ghost Rider as your book of the week, right?
Yeah, yeah. Any other week, like if Ghost Rider wasn't here and didn't surprise me, um, I probably would have picked Human Target.
Yeah.
Traditionally, my pick of the week will skew towards a surprise rather than a surefire. I know this book's gonna be good. Otherwise it
Yeah.
would always be Human Target. Like,
Well, every month, yeah.
yeah, every time it's there, which isn't fair
Yeah.
to the other books, but yeah.
That's it for the reviews. We can't do comics tag because Marco ain't
Nobody's
here.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Marco was supposed to read that, but he ain't here. So I guess
Yeah.
maybe we'll hear about it, or we'll just restart once
We'll
everyone's
get
back.
it. We'll get it next week. One way or another, comics tag will be back.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we've got some polls. So Tyler, why don't you
We
share
do.
those?
I don't know what's first. Oh yeah. So I want to pull One Star Squadron. This is by Mark Russell and Steve Lieber. If you liked Steve Lieber on like Superior Foes or any of Mark Russell stuff, specifically Flintstones, check this out. It is literally D-list DC heroes running a company that's like Uber for superheroes. So it's like, oh, this person needs to order a superhero for security detail, and so they get Plastic Man, like they get someone good like Plastic Man or Red Tornado. But this person needs somebody for a child's birthday party. And then there's like that dynamic there, and it kind of deals with like society and the what's it called, like when you just do Uber and all that stuff. It's just working mentality and how that exists in America. And
Yeah.
Power Girl, it has real girl boss energy in this, which is she's in it, which is very interesting. And it's like
That's
in
so
continuity.
weird.
It is very, very strange.
What? This is like a mixture of crowded and like I don't know what.
Yeah, but it's kind of depressing. I know
Yeah, of
one.
course. Dude, that shit's very depressing. Uber Eats?
Yeah, it's Uber Eats except with Power Girl, Red Tornado, Plastic Man. Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I
Can I
recommend it. It is weird.
can I segue real quick and just tell you a quick story?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So I was doing something I can't say on the show.
Okay.
And after I did it, I was very, very in need of food. And my girlfriend and I were like
You
desperate.
need to munch on something.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was 1 a.m. So we order from Kennedy's. And if you're from New York, you know what Kennedy's is.
Yeah.
Kennedy's is like the hood Popeyes.
Always
right?
next to a barbershop. If you go to a Kennedy's that's not next to a barbershop, you're not going to the right Kennedy's.
Correct. And a liquor store has to be within 5 stores.
Check cashing as well. I believe that.
Check cashing.
Mhm.
And also the check cashing has to have one bullet hole represented somewhere.
Somewhere.
All right.
Could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we order from Kennedy's and it's supposed to get to the house within an hour. So we're like, okay, we can suffer for an hour. We wait the hour,
Suffer.
doesn't come. 2 hours, doesn't come. Now at about 3:30 in the morning, we get a ping that the food has arrived and that Rashawn or whoever has delivered our food.
You just got bones, didn't you?
The problem is that the guy did not deliver the food. So at 3:30 in the morning, I'm out of my mind. I'm hungry. I need food. And Rashawn is chomping down on my food somewhere else. And I'm left with the bag. I'm left with no bag, actually. I'm left with nothing.
He give you nothing.
So-
He can give you like just the scraps.
Nothing.
Man.
So screw you, whoever you were. And it is a tragedy that these things do happen. And I'm tired of Uber Eats and all of these different apps leaving me without my food.
I thought you were gonna go in the I'm sick and tired of them in their predatory tactics of how much money they take from the working man. I thought we were gonna get into a workers' rights thing, but instead you didn't get your Kennedys.
Workers' rights, please. Anyway.
So I also had on this, and this is one of yours as well, the return of Nice House on the Lake with a bunch of rats.
Yeah.
So I like rats. So
Wait, you
Twilight.
love rats, but you hate spiders, right? You have a spider thing?
I don't like most bugs. The bigger the bug, the more comfortable I am with it. Because
Okay.
the little ones, you don't know where they are.
All right.
A tarantula I can keep track of. A big old hissing cockroach, I can keep track of that guy because he likes to be pet. You never pet a cockroach?
Hell no, dude. What?
Madagascar hissing cockroaches. If you you can pet them, they start purring, and their feet feel like Velcro. It's pretty cool, actually.
That is one of the nastiest things that I've ever heard of.
Good pet too. Like they have personality as well. You can buy them online. I'll send you a link later.
Don't. I'm done with links, by the way. Links, Google searches, gotten to me into a lot of trouble, and I'm not doing it anymore.
Fine. That's fair. I totally understand.
Nice House is awesome. Can't wait for it to be back. This break that they were on really didn't feel as long as I was afraid of.
We were wrong.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Can't
wait. Gladly wrong. And then you also had Batman Killing Time #1.
Yeah. So I'm willing to give Tom King another chance with that.
Okay. I was gonna say you just gushed about Human Target.
No. So because of how good everything that Tom King has put out has been over the last, I would say like the last year or so, I want to read him tackle Batman again. And so we do have Killing Time, which is going to be from him and David Marquez, who I contend still is one of the greatest artists in comics right now and criminally underrated and underutilized.
So I can't wait to see Marvel event in decades, Civil War 2.
From an art perspective, yeah. I don't think there's been a better event art-wise.
Did you read Marquez on, I believe it was Williamson on Batman Superman?
Yep.
It's good stuff. It's fucking good looking stuff. Marquez is like good old superhero stuff. So,
and I'm excited for it. I need to amend that because House and Powers, if you count that as an event, that was pretty damn good from a visual standpoint. But so I'm excited. As excited as I can be for Tom on Batman. I hope that this story is a little bit more. Like a little bit less about the romance between Batman and Catwoman. Like I don't really want that. I want just some like regular Batman stuff.
Yeah, I want some Killer Croc and Riddler and Penguin like the cover is like suggesting. So
yes, yeah, I'm all in on that. So that's gonna do it for us this week on Pals Pulls. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate every single one of you, whether you are watching live on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecomicspals. We go live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern and Saturdays for the main show. That's 10 a.m. Eastern. This week, gosh, what are we going to be talking about?
We had to we might be redoing what the show is about. So retooling.
Yeah.
So
it's too soon to say, but I can promise you this. We are going to be doing our Batman predictions. We're going to be talking about our feelings about the Batman going into it, what we think we're going to feel about it, all that kind of jazz. And if you want to hear our review of that, next Monday, not next Monday, the Monday after, the Monday after the film releases, we will be putting out our review. So if you've already seen it at that point, definitely tune in. You're not going to want to miss our thoughts about that, of course. Book club wise, we have Doom Patrol that's out now and Year One that's out on Tuesday. That's Tuesday, March 1st. Definitely want to check that out. We had a great time talking about that classic. And is it the definitive Batman story of all time? We answer that question. So tune in to find out our thoughts. Thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time, take care, guys.
So long.